Hi, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Flex and Reflect Sunday Sit Down. So, if this is the first episode you're watching, every week I sit down and answer all the questions around health, fitness, mindset, nutrition, continuous improvement. So, let's jump straight into it. Oh, I got them on the other part of my screen here. Okay, how do you structure your day to maximize energy levels and avoid a burnout? Well, what's important here, like anything that I talk about, you've got to do things consistently. And the more consistent you are, the more mentally tough you become, the more practiced you are in doing certain things. So for me, I have very long days, anywhere between 12, 14, 16-hour days, very, very long, coaching people, taking care of myself, doing my own workouts, taking care of everything else around house, business, life, etc. And so what I do is I spend actually Sundays planning out my entire week ahead. And then I make sure that the most crucial things that are there for me to do every single day, I do those in the first part of the day, preferably first thing in the morning. Where I get my best workouts done is first thing in the morning. I've tried different types of different days, different times of the day, and I find the stage I'm in my life now, it's first thing in the morning. It sets the mind up for success. It ticks that very big box for me that yes, I've done the workout that I wanted to. I feel great. I've already got success while most people are still sleeping before they've even started their day. I find that then helps me leapfrog into that rest of the day, and it does keep me energized. Even though the workout can be draining, it energizes me for the day. But then I've got to make sure that I fuel myself well as well, post workout, during the workout, and then throughout the day. And I do that consistently every day of the week. So making sure, like a big part of energy is the physical energy that you're putting out, as well as what are you doing to nutritionally fuel yourself. Now, most people, certainly in Australia, it's something like 85% of adults do not eat the recommended daily intake of a plant-based food. It's not about becoming vegan or vegetarian, it's just getting more of that food into you. Most people just don't do it at all. When I start coaching people, I'm just astounded that, like, some people barely eat a cup to 2 cups of vegetables a day, when it should be really 5 to 7 serves. And that's a big part of it. And most people are surviving off low nutritionally dense food, higher in calories, higher in fats, sugars, that kind of stuff, and just surviving on those calories, and then stimulant type drinks, whether it be like just caffeine, whether it be coffee, energy drinks, etc. And that is an artificial way to build the energy. We want to do it from within. And so for me, I make sure that I'm doing those fundamental things. And then also, I find that later in the day, if I need to do creative type work, I'm very left brain, which means that the creative side can be harder for me. I will tend to do that in the early parts of the day. And then later in the day, I might be having more, say, meetings or conversations, relationship building things later in the afternoon that don't require, say, that so much attention to detail of those all early morning tasks. So it's finding out what works for you. Also doing some of that continuous improvement, personal growth type work. I'll do that later in the day sometimes as well, to help me just get a break from that, give the brain a bit of a break. I'm working with people like throughout the day, all day, every day, except Sundays. And for me, it's just about learning where I get the biggest bang for my buck, doing those first, and then pacing myself for the rest of the day. Sometimes I'll just get out and say in the afternoon, and because I've had, say, 6, 7 hours or so of consistent work, and just get out and go for a walk, free out my mind, and I'll record a couple of podcasts while I'm doing. So I have to multitask. I can't just go out for a walk and just aimlessly just walk like a zombie. I need to be like meeting with people, like on the phone, having conversations, or I'm recording a couple of podcasts. And so that's the way that I do it. But it really comes from a foundation that's really solid, which is of health. So yeah, don't try and be me. Just be you. Use me and my work ethic to inspire you to do more, but don't try and go from where you are. If you have low energy, really struggle to get to me in one step. Just think about, okay, what are the things that I can be doing to improve my overall health and wellness and energy? And you'll find that if you don't have a solid base of that, your focus will wane, and that you're just not getting much done. What's a small daily habit that has had the biggest impact on your personal performance? All right, so it's kind of similar to what I just said. The If it was like one small daily habit, I'll say it's continuous improvement. Because what we need to, in order for us to be happy and successful in life, we need to progress. So if we are not progressing every single day, we're either staying the same or we're going backwards. Now, if you can wrap your head around growing yourself every single day, just imagine how much further you are along. Just think about this little amount of growth. Think what that looks like today, and you'll say, "Oh, yeah, not much." But what's it look like in a year? What's it look like in 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, 5 years? I look at some of the things that I've now been doing for 7 years and how much I've grown as a person in 7 years. Like, it's quite astounding when I look back and say, golly, I can remember when I used to do this and what I'm doing now, and the relationships that I'm building now, and the success that I'm having, like in the media and in business, and outcomes that I'm having with different client relationships and even family relationships now, compared to what I used to. And that's all built around the philosophy of, I moved my mindset from a 5-day to a 7-day mindset, and I started to incorporate personal growth, continuous growth, self-learning, improving myself from say a 2 to 3 day a week thing to 7 days. And I just schedule it, have it in the calendar 7 days a week, even if it's 10, 15, 18 minutes a day. Focus on that area that's maybe a weakness for you right now to make it better and turn it into a strength. Like for me, one of my big ones was around speaking, public speaking, knowing the words to say and being a person of value to somebody. So I thought, how can I get better at that? How can I get better at speaking, and stopping using those filler words like uh, um, uh, things like that we all tend to do when we first start speaking. So I started recording a podcast. My coach said, look, no one in your space is doing this. Do it, and do it every day. And so that's my Rob Evans 365 podcast. So I just recorded episode, oh, what, 2,254 at the time of recording this. And as we were going through COVID, and I think it was just before COVID, my coach reached out. He said, hey, you need to record this one, the Mental Toughness and Body Show. And so I just recorded episode 1,384 of that. So add all that up, and what's that? 3,637. That maths might not be 100% right. That's a lot. And so I started doing the first one because I wanted to get better at speaking. So I go back and listen to some of those early ones, and I was still doing some of those things. Progressed to now, I don't do it anywhere nearly as much, because of the guests that I've had on my shows as well. I have become better at having those conversations, asking better quality questions. And I force myself to not prepare as much for the podcast, so that it forces me to listen. And then it's like I'm putting myself, like testing myself with each person to listen, and then think, Rob, you need to think of questions to ask based on what they're saying. So you actively listen. There's nothing worse. And I see this on the stage happen so much, where people say interview somebody that's high profile, and they've got their list of questions, and the person has just said something perhaps really great that they could really have some conversation about, and then they ask their next question off their list. And it's like, man, that's so amateurish, and it doesn't give a great experience. So all of that came down to my personal growth, the continuous growth, doing it every single day. And without fail, I now record 2 podcasts a day, and I'm yet to find somebody else in the world that has done as many podcasts as me. I did it because I want to have an impact and I wanted to learn how to speak better. There's something about that little cog in your mind that is knowing that you are growing every day. I'm finding strategies to just get that extra little bit of learning today, learn a new skill. I read the Wall Street Journal. I read the headlines of Forbes and read a couple of their articles. I look through my browser and say what's happening locally and so forth. And I stay connected with people, so that means I can have good conversations with people as well. So that would be my big one for you. So good question. How do you set boundaries to maintain focus and productivity both in work and personal life? Yeah, that's a good question. I think this is life's journey to know many of the relationships that we start in life, we didn't have any choice over them, like family. Now, I find that some of the worst people at holding you to account and where a lot of toxicity can come from is from your family, whether it's your parents, your siblings, the broader family as you spread out. And it's only over time that you work out that whether that's the type of energy that you want to be around or not want to be around. And I have over the decades worked out who do I want to spend time with and who do I not want to spend time with. And I think it becomes clearer and clearer. I still learn. I still learn every week. You're forming new relationships, different relationships. I think the more success that you have in your life too, people want more of you. Just imagine if you won the biggest lottery in the world right now and everybody knew that, you look at all the new friends and relatives that perhaps you haven't heard from for a year that all of a sudden want to get to know you again. But they're only doing that because of they're in it for them, not for you. They're in it for them. Because if they're in it for you, they would have been around and in your life and making a big impact on you up to the point of you winning the lottery. And I find that is very true. So I like to think about it as like rings. And so you have your inner circle, and in my inner circle, I have about 3 people in that inner circle. And then as we go out and out and out, there are so many rings. Like in order to get to my inner circle, you've got to go through so many rings, and it will take you about 10 years. That's the bottom line, because people are always, I'm generalizing here, but you'll find this to be true. People are usually hanging out with you because they want something from you, like what's in it for them, not what's in it for you, what's in it for them. And I was just having a conversation with my daughter about this. And I said, when things get really tough in your life, when there's something really challenging, like she lost her sister, I lost a daughter, and the people that step into your life, step out of your life, there will be surprises on both sides. And it's like, wow, I thought that person would have been there. And then there'll be those people that were like, wow, I just didn't expect that from somebody. And so it's when you go through the toughest times of your life, that's when you usually find out who's that type of person that is eligible to come into that inner circle over time. Uh, I'm very slow to trust now. I had people that have not been loyal, have betrayed me, all that kind of stuff. The type of energy and conversations I've left workplaces and so forth in the past when I used to work corporately before I had my business, because it was just the type of conversations and energy that was just so draining. I mean, you know what that is. You know what that's like. You've got that friend that you want, well, you don't necessarily want to catch up, but you catch up with, and it's like, oh, you walk away from it feeling, oh, I'm so drained. Oh, and you just don't want to hang out with that person again. Well, you know what? It's okay to say you just don't. And that's the same with family. It's really hard when it's family. You just because they are your family doesn't mean you have to hang out with them. And yeah, it's a learning process, and you can be guided by your gut as to like how do you feel? Like, does it feel good spending time with that person? And knowing what your values and beliefs are. So, for instance, if knowing the way that I live my life and my values and beliefs, am I about to spend time with a bikie gang or time with a gang where there's weapons, there's drugs, there's a whole lot of antisocial behavior? No, because that does not match my values and beliefs. Obviously, that's an extreme example, and then you've got all those things in between. Like, do I want to go, say, out regularly to the pub to meet friends and drink and stuff? No, because one, I hate chit chat. I hate that kind of thing. I've got so many things that I want to be doing. I want to be sitting in that environment. There's a lot of toxicity in that environment. Alcohol, like smoking, actually not smoke inside in Australia anymore, but smoking outside, gambling, the conversations, the womanizing, and all that kind of stuff. It's not me. So you'll never catch me in that environment. So I think it's really staying true to your values and beliefs, and sometimes it requires making a hard decision as well, to step away from those relationships. So, but it's practice, right? Life is a practice. You think, oh well, that could be okay because you make up excuses and reasons as to why that person's behaving that way because of you know whatever reason, and you say, oh, but that's okay. But actually, it's not okay. And you've got to think about, how do you bring out the best version of you? You will never bring out the best version of you while you surround yourself with negativity and toxicity. And it's only when you start to surround yourself with the right energy, you think, wow, I didn't know that that was possible for me. Just like if you've gone from it's probably a really good example, your own health, and let's say that you've been living on, I'll go an extreme example, but pretty much all fast food type of eating. Like, you're not really making it with fresh ingredients. You're always just buying something. You're buying breakfast, you're buying lunch, you're getting takeaway for dinner, and you just make a habit of that. You're surviving on energy drinks and coffee and that kind of stuff. You're having some alcohol at night, or maybe on the weekends, you're getting drunk and doing that sort of stuff. Now, just imagine that you replace that with healthy food. Doesn't mean you don't do some of those things occasionally, but you replace it with highly nutritious food. You start exercising, working out, going for walks, and to free up your mind and help think better. You're working on some continuous improvement type work every day, and you start to notice these things change. You'll become a different person over time because you'll just feel better. You'll have a better level of health, more energy, more focus. You'll get more things done. You'll get more success. You'll move up the corporate ladder. You'll have more business success. You'll attract more of those great relationships into your life because you're now hungry to go and find them. So you've got that example, and you think, wow, yeah, I used to be really flat. I didn't sleep well. I'm feeling like this, and this. And now you've gone to, wow, gee, I'm energized. I love my life. I love getting out in nature. I love doing those things. I love doing my workouts, etc. I feel so good. Well, now imagine you do that in your relationships, right? All relationships, intimate relationships, family relationships, um, and, coaches, building those types of highly successful relationships. That's the equivalent of what it's like. Your life just goes to a level that it's hard to relate to because most people don't do the work in this space. But trust me, it works really well. All right, let's go through one more question. What's the most common mindset shift you see in clients when they go from struggling to thriving? Okay. I think it comes down to how they define their health and why that's important to them. Because these are a couple of areas where I work with people to say, I want you to become unstoppable. This isn't just whether they work with me forever or not. I mean, I've got clients that have worked with me for over 10 years, but it's not about that. What I want them to do is understand, as soon as you come up with a really powerful definition of what health means to you, and it's going to be different for every person, but what I encourage people to do, usually there's like a physical part of change, which is important for health and just your self-esteem and self-confidence and stuff. But the bigger change is your mindset change and how you think about your health. So think about it as like internal health. Any any blood test or scan, any test that a doctor could do, and that is like, yes, you're actually good, you're excellent in your health, thumbs up, well done. There's that part of it. And then I think of your internal health as well as your mindset and thinking, so what's your mental health like? Are you focused? Are you strong? Are you growing? Like I said before, are you growing every day? Because that mindset is very different to the depressed mindset that doesn't want to be here anymore and struggling to set goals and all that kind of stuff. And then there's the energy part, which I constantly talk about because when you've got more energy, you can do more things. And then it just depends on, okay, well, where am I going to put that energy? Well, okay, I'm going to put it into me. And so if you put that energy into you, then you'll learn more, you'll become better. And whatever it is that you're doing, you'll just learn to focus on getting a better result for that. So for me, it's like for my clients and my daughter and things like that. If I'm focused on that and I'm energized like that, then you just don't stop. And that's how I'm able to do what I do 7 days a week because I focus on the fundamentals. And when you come up with the reasons as to why all of that's important to you, this is something that will change and evolve over the years. Like if you just had to think right now as to, so why is a healthy lifestyle important to you? You might come up with 3, maybe 5 different things. Will you always remember those? You might remember 3, but even 5, I say that's not enough. And so you've got to write them down. I have 42 reasons as to why my health and wellness, fitness, mindset, continuous growth is important to me. And I only got to 42 by writing them down because you can't get to the 42nd one until you get to the 41st. And one thought will lead to the next. And when I'm like, I was typing them and I saved the document, it's like, okay, well, yeah, it's because of this. And I can remember it's about number 23 where I started to think about my mum. And this is after she passed away. And my mum was always very unhealthy for various reasons. And I thought, oh, I'd never thought about mum's poor health as inspiring me to live a more healthier lifestyle. But it did. And I'd never tapped into it before because I'd never thought that deeply about it. You kind of just, you push things to the side and don't think about them in that context. And then that led to a bunch of others. And then I had, up until my daughter passed away, I had 32 reasons. And it got to December last year. And I said, oh, do you know what? I'm sick and tired of feeling sad and focusing on the sadness all the time. And I know that that is not something that she would have wanted for me. So I sat down with that document again. And in about probably 15 minutes, I came up with 10 more, just like that. I was like bang. And I was thinking about what would she be saying to me right now? And so now I have 42 reasons. And I will never, ever stop living a healthy lifestyle and doing the things that I'm doing. I'm continuously assessing my day and say, like, did I do all those things? Or is there some new research around a particular something that I can have a look at and see is that something I want to incorporate in my life. Most of my change is now around mindset and mindset practices and that experimenting with the different times of the day where I do that, like self-improvement, focus work. Again, probably first thing in the day is best when my mind is fresher, I'm more rested and I can think and get that done. And it's like, man, I've done a workout, I've done my continuous improvement workout, like 2 elements of that. And it's like, bang, you're smoking. Let's just move on with the day. I find that works best for me. So yeah, that would be my single biggest mind shift for my clients. The ones that nail those things really continuously do it, and they dramatically improve their health and wellness. And they love the sooner they can feel that and see that in their body, and then it starts to expand. And that's when I know that they're really starting to get it, because it's rather than just they might come in and say, well, I want to lose weight. It's like, okay, that's paper thin. We want it to go deeper and then get deeper and deeper. And then as we continue our accountability and coaching, we start to delve into other areas of their life and say, okay, where do you want more better outcomes? And how do we change the mindset around that? But you've got to get the fundamentals right first, because if you don't have the health, you don't have the energy, you won't have the focus, and you can't put it over there. And you'll do what I did for many years, was said, okay, well, yes, I've got to focus on business. If this is health, now I've got to go focus on business. So, okay. Oh, well, sorry, this is me, and health is out here. It's like, oh, well, I'm doing some work on that, but this is suffering. So, all right, I will keep doing here, but I'll go over here, and then over a period of weeks, whatever, you realize that, oh, you probably dropped the ball a little bit here. So it's like, okay, well, let's go back there. And so, oh, well, I'll focus on this part now. I'll focus on the kids or the relationships or whatever it is around you. And the biggest shift for me was when I said, pull health into here, always focus on that, and then all these other things will benefit as a result. And that might sound like an insignificant shift, but it's quite significant because most people have this as a. I had somebody that just messaged me recently saying, "Oh, yeah, the health is sort of a luxury at the moment," and I was like, "Man, you just do not get it. It's not a luxury. It's a privilege to be here, and it's our duty as the caretakers of us to do the best that we can to look after ourselves for us first, so that we can be our best version, add the most value in everybody else's lives around us, and that's what makes it worth living. All right. On that note, thanks for all the questions. Great questions this week. I will see you next Sunday. Go and set yourself up for success. Have a great day.